just listening to you talk, it's like most people, I've got complicated views of psychiatry, and I don't understand it because I'm not a psychiatrist. But I'm hearing you talk about what's inside a person. It's more than just the sum total of chemical reactions in the brain. You're describing a soul. And that is not a conversation that you hear very often, even from psychiatrists. And Sigmund Freud, whose ideas form the basis of psychiatry globally, is in the West anyway, was at the center of the public conversation even 40 years ago, has been disappeared from history. Can you describe what you think is going on there, the change? I've noticed it. I don't understand it.
Well, you're right. Psychiatrists graduating today most often are never in psychotherapy themselves. Many of them could never perform psychotherapy. Most of them are now doling out their time in 10-minute increments to write prescriptions that match one of 300 or more diagnoses that are in the psychiatry manual, the DSM-5 TR, or whatever it's called now, which neatly fit with insurance company reimbursement for those disorders. So all these forces have aligned to crush the heart of psychiatry, which is really about restoring the individual to him or herself. That makes psychiatry public enemy number one.
What does that mean, restoring? I feel like you're saying something very important, so I just want to make sure it's clear what it is. What does that mean, restoring a person to himself?
Well, so human beings really do have inborn talents. They have belief systems that evolve, but they're based upon something very deep. They suffer depression, anxiety, all manner of things when their stories are not known to them. When they think of people, let's say, in the family or others or events that unfolded as beneficial to them when they were, say, very bad for them. They need to recast the characters that they thought were the heroes in their lives and say, maybe not. Maybe when I abandoned myself, my interest, to take a common example, maybe when I allowed myself to not pursue that real passion of mine because I wanted to satisfy people around me, maybe that means that those people didn't love me as much as I thought they did, right? Now, that's an incredible epiphany when that happens. If a man, for instance, is supposed to be an artist and he goes around the globe doing deals to create wealth for his family because he's not sure what else to do because that was assigned to him, that man needs to embrace his art again and reevaluate everyone around him who suggested he not do that.
And I think you're describing in a much more detailed way the phrase you used to hear but never do now, which is be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself is the key to psychiatry because the truth is now they want to match one or another antipsychotic or antidepressant or anti-anxiety medicine to your symptoms. That can be very helpful. But they forgot the other part, like the 75%, which is you can literally hear voices or see visions based on being disconnected from your core. Right? So you hear these things almost as echoes of your core self, and they're transmuted, and you can't make sense of them anymore.
Wait, so you're saying the way you structure society can cause mental illness?
There's no question. Look at all the things. A country doesn't need a border to be a country. What? That's insane. Okay? The president, although there's dramatic evidence that he's compromised by foreign countries, he's not. And he makes decisions just in the interest of the United States. You're asking me to be delusional. And in order for me to be delusional, I must be cut off from myself or my soul. That's my anchor. And the anchor, again, being a symbol of God, Christianity, etc., right? I'm unanchored now. I'm adrift. What do you do when you're adrift? You cling to anything that offers you safety, that you think offers you safety in a storm. The government. That's what's up. Kill psychiatry. That's just a little part of it. Kill people's anchor, their compass, their sense of self. Suggest to them, can you imagine the work it is for kids who are told in schools, which they are now, close your eyes and I know this was done in Massachusetts in a school, I know, whole school assembled, mandatory, close your eyes, and I want you to think about what gender you really are, not what you were born as, what you really are. Can you imagine the mental work, the incredible knots you're tying in
That's
people's
Jonestown
psyches?
right there.
He was good enough to say, let's leave the planet with Kool-Aid. I mean,
Yes.
at least he sounded completely crazy. These people pretend to be sane and to be doing it in your interest.
Did they ask for Hunter Biden's laptop, or did they just sweep it up?
No, they just swept it up.
Did they know it was his? Did you tell him?
Didn't tell him.
And yet they returned it to him.
Yes, they did.
Well, how did that happen?
Well, I mean, I did suggest that would be the right thing for them to do. They could have made a different decision given that he was under investigation federally, but they didn't. And so that's their business as to why not. But, it sort of put me in a funny position because I had guys like Garrett Ziegler, who's a far right guy, saying, Keith Abloh must be in business selling drugs with Hunter Biden. He wouldn't turn over that laptop. He had it all this time. Well, no, it's patient confidentiality.
Well, and by the way, when you had that laptop, I mean, of course, no one knew you had it. No one knew you were treating Hunter Biden, maybe outside of Salem. But you were raided, and that laptop was taken months before I heard the story that the laptop existed. I mean, we first got its contents in October of 2020, and this was February of 2020.
Right. And so, no idea as to motive, agenda. Again, I mean, I did have a disgruntled former employee, maybe one who thinks the laptop had nothing to do with it, would say, well, maybe that person told them that you were selling drugs.
Did anyone apologize to you?
No, and it's not necessarily over. They never say, oh, by the way, sorry, and you have a clean bill. And
wait, so they can just show up with guns at your house, not explain why they're there.
That's right.
Steal all your stuff, and then never charge you, much less convict you, and then it just kind of hangs over your head.
It hangs over your head, and if I had called my lawyer prior to this, he would have said, absolutely not. You are not going on Tucker Carlson's show because, as you know, you're still under federal investigation. The reason I'm here, aside from the fact that you are the patriot you are, and we were friends back at our former employer, is that I don't like being shut up.
Good. Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. The internet is crowded with interesting things that don't really matter. On TCN, we attempt to bring you interesting things that actually do matter, and a lot of them. Interviews, long form and short, videos, documentaries. You can find all of it on tuckercarlson.com, and we hope you will.